Yeah,
And
as you should, because I mean, Leanna, here's the thing. I don't think you realize the impact that you're going to have on people. You know what I mean? Like, for this to be their spot, if they want to come talk, if they want to message, something like that, like, it's important to be able to have those outs. And I know at first you're struggling with it a little bit, but at the same time, I'm telling you, like, the impact that you have. And that's why I said, no matter what, record them, because we go back and watch them. You know, there's people who go back and watch them, and what you say, it's powerful,
and
because everything we've went through, like, there's probably people who've never thought that we would be where we're at, but here we
no, I
are.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't. That's what I said. I in one of my intro, I made some intro videos the other day, and like my life is like I own a home. Like never in my life, as growing up as being a kid, like I never thought that I would own a home. That's like college. I was talking about college to my husband the other day, and I remember like at that point in my life when I was I never did grade. When we're talking about college and stuff, I can remember like sitting at a computer. I was at my mom's some kind of her family's house. I don't even know who they were. We lived out in Iowa for a while. And I remember just like I was wanting to be a nurse, and I remember looking at like Wesleyan University, and it was so expensive, and I just knew like that there was no. I mean, and I know, okay, like now looking back as an adult, like I could have, there's things I could have done, I'm sure, but student loans and stuff. But like I can remember feeling so defeated, like even started, like I was so discouraged, and I don't want that for my kids, and my kids will not have that. You know what I mean? Like they will.
Yeah.
I may be able to pay for their college, but like I'll be able to help. You know what I mean? And that's just my life
Mhm.
in ways that I never thought was possible. And sometimes people don't watch my show I live, and sometimes they do. But I really have people do really like they'll comment and they'll send things. Like I know that people watch later, and I really appreciate that. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's helping me to to help people share. I get really excited. Like I said, like the girl that was supposed to be on tonight, she has a really amazing story. I was really excited. I said I sincerely hope that she comes through. I don't know what happened. She she's not responding, but you know just and stories like the story that I have tomorrow, I'm really excited about. Her son died of an overdose, and they started a foundation, and they help out people in like sober living in halfway houses, and anybody in recovery. But I keep saying that, but they help out anybody in recovery, but with all kind of things, and they're really amazing, and I'm excited to be a part of that, to share that. And and I have something on my hoodie, and I'm freezing to death, or I'll take it off. My kids and my husband they've been passing strep throat around all week. It has been miserable here. But
Tell them to keep it, right? Remember in
yeah, I don't get
CCUC, everybody
sick.
passed the COVID around.
Yeah, yeah, I did get COVID, but yeah, here I'm gonna say I don't get sick. Yeah, we did have COVID lockdown, um, but yeah, but yeah, my life
I'm
is just
telling you. But here, Leanna, I want you to also remember, don't cut yourself short. If you want to go to college, go to college. I waited
right.
20 years. Who would have thought me, the junkie, the whore, the liar, all this? I graduated top 10% of my class, and on to UK I went. Yes, it's expensive. You know what I mean? My college this semester is like 11 grand, but I'll have something to show for it.
Yeah,
You know,
and I'm
I'm
seriously considering going for my bachelor's. Like, I live in Kentucky, and you have to like to be an actual real counselor, you have to go to college. Well, you live in Kentucky too, but and
Mhm.
so I'm seriously considering that, because I just, if I'm gonna do it, I might as well, like, that's where I'm at in my life right now. Like, me and my husband are deciding how far I'm gonna take this. Like, the show started as just a hobby, as an outlet, whatever. But if I, obviously the addiction, I don't know, whatever field or whatever, is something completely different. And we're deciding if I'm taking it all the way there or not. But I'm seriously considering it, because if I'm going to do it, I want to do it all the way. And I want to know what I'm talking about. Like, I'm one of those people, I don't want to come on here and look stupid and say things that, that's
Mhm.
how I am too. Like, I want to be able to argue the points because eventually it's going to happen, because I'm going to keep making these episodes, and people are going to see them that don't like them. And I'm going to need to know the right things to say, because I'm going to
Yeah,
say,
and you're not going to make everybody happy. Not everybody wants to believe that somebody's going to recover. Not everybody has that faith in somebody. So it doesn't matter. It to me. I feel like that if you're on there and you help one person, then you've changed one person's life. That's all
yep,
you can do.
Yep.
What if somebody don't like me, Leanna? If they don't like me, that's their loss.
Yep.
Judge me for who I used to be. I promise you wouldn't like me. Don't worry, because there was a time I didn't like me either. Like I was a bitch. Like
Yep.
I was bad. Like I was a whole lot of things.
Yep. I
So if, if they want to pick that garbage up and pack it around, go right ahead. I'll let it go.
yeah, because it was too heavy for me. Yeah, you're better if you can carry that shit around for your whole life. Because I couldn't. Yeah, because I was just, I was horrible. Some of the things that I've done, and it just, you know, and that's
It's
just
not that.
not me today.
Yeah, we just got to change the way we think. You're not horrible. We was people doing the best that we could with what we had to do with.
Yep. And
That's
that's
it. It
what
doesn't.
I was just saying. While I was trying to find someone to jump on with me or whatever, I was saying like, oh shit, I completely lost it.
You're fine. I just come from CrossFit. I about died. It's okay.
Oh, I know what I'm saying is that my platform, I've been putting out these posts that, like, and some of them can be a little edgy, like, and I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm like glorifying or glamifying in any way, the addiction of things that I've done, but I think it's really important. And for me, that's how I heal, to own this shit and to laugh at myself.
Mm-hmm.
And in no way am I saying like this was a good thing, but what I am saying is what is a good thing is look how fucking far I've came today, because it's far,
Yeah.
to some of
Yeah.
people know, some people don't, but
If
it's
not
far.
for the battles, Leanna, that you went through, if not for the struggles that people will go through in life, we wouldn't be who we are today. Without struggle, there's no progress. So, had I not done all the things I did, am I proud of that? Hell no. But I know it made me who I am. Had I
Yep.
not went through all these and made all the wrong decisions, how would I know which one's right?
Yep.
I just got to do something different. You
Yep.
know,
And that's it
got
right
to
there,
do something
something
different.
different, because especially for me, like, and I don't want pity, or I'm not making excuses for myself or whatever, but like coming from where I came from and all that shit, like all I did all my whole life is just do the best, like, with everything
Mm-hmm.
that I've had. And so, yeah, I just have to do something different. Like, yeah, I did all of these things and now I'm not doing those things anymore. And I'm not doing any types of things like that because now I know
Yeah.
better. You know what I mean? And I can honestly say, and not everyone in addiction, I can say this is not everybody's story, but like I honestly for a long time didn't know better. And then when I did know better, I was already full blown junkie. And then God, who cares? So
Yeah.
like,
I,
now that I do know better, I just do different.
I think.
We have
I
a
think.
comment. Hold on, I want to read real quick. In the words of Chris Heron from the First Day Substance Abuse Prevention Education film, please God, just one. And that's literally that's all on. That's what I'm trying to do here is just one person, and it's myself is who it started, And then now the more that I've helped people tell their story, and I can tell that some people really enjoy it, and then
Mm,
it's now I just now it's what I want to
your,
do.
your passion's to help people, even when you
Yeah.
was in some of the places. Your passion was to help people, and you see that. I see that. I've always seen that. We didn't meet on in the best situation. We was doing time. You
Yeah.
know, we was doing time, like, but we made the best of it. We did. We
Yeah.
did. But had to be determined when we left that place because we could have easily went right back out there.
Yeah.
Once you get where it is for me. I believe that once I got sober, it became my decision whether I made that wrong decision to go and use again. Then
Yep.
that
And
become
that's
my
it
decision.
too. A lot of people don't understand that. Like, sometimes you do need to get set down. Like, a lot of people think of drug or not drug jail as a bad thing. But the truth of it is that sometimes people need that because, especially us in addiction, sometimes we just need set down. And even, some people relapse and they get off track and they just need set down. That's what happened to me. I was clean for a while and then I relapsed and I needed set the fuck down and I got it. I got it by God. But we
Yeah,
just need that's how our brains are because now I know better. So, but it's hard to get clean. So jail
yeah.
sometimes can be, a blessing in disguise, as bad as it fucking sucks.
I never got sober on myself. I was sober for 10 years and used the death of my sister as an excuse because it was always around me. And I always say, I can't blame nobody else because that is my decision. I picked it up. I used it. I can push blame, but you can't recover being a victim. You can't. I have to own my shit. I have to find every single part in it. You know, what I did, I always said that I thought for sure that I thoroughly worked a fourth step, Leanna. Like, I'm like, I worked the steps. I continue to work the steps. But you know, when I go back and work that fourth step again after I had relapsed after 10 years, you know, and they sent me to Campbell County and I did 38 months and then had to go to SAP, I was pissed. Yeah, I was pissed. I didn't even have a drug charge. I had 12 years for what? You know, a PFO and a possession of a forged instrument, but it wasn't what I wanted. It was what the plan was ahead for me, you know, and
What
that's
you
when I decided
needed.
and that's when I decided I wanted something different, you know, and I worked that fourth step and I was like, the state never took my kids. I chose drugs and alcohol over my kids. They was protecting my kids from me. You know, I had to bite that one because that was real for me. Like, they didn't take them, they was protecting them from me. Okay. And then another one, and I was like, I had to sit and take a, a bigger fourth step and was like, that child who seen me tore up at the grocery store, do I know their names? No. But I harmed that child.
Yeah.
I harmed that family. Like, those are harms that I had to really sit and take a look at it and be like, I harmed that household when I was sleeping with that man. You know, I harmed this, or I harmed that store when I went and stole from it.
Yep.
You know, like,
I
and
have
that's
a lot of crimes, like, things that, like, I did a lot of things that I'm not proud of, like robbing houses of people that I don't know, who, places I can't even remember how to get to or whatever, things like that. So, like, I struggled with that. That was part of why I made the show too, because I have a lot of crimes against, society or whatever, that, like, I can't pay for adequately in my mind, to, whatever I've done. I always felt like I've done so much wrong shit. I'm like, years of wrong shit that, like, I don't know, that was my life. My life was hectic and chaos and crime and drugs, and from my whole life. So I did struggle with that, and that's kind of why I made the show. That, I love that you say, every time I have you on here, you say things like, the system didn't take your kids, like, you like it. And I love that, because I am one of the other few people that I always say all the time, like, growing up, it was always instilled in me, like, when the kids get in the system, you never get them back and shit. That's bullshit too. Like, I'm not saying that there's not bad, crooked caseworkers out there, but if you do what the fuck you're supposed to do, you get, my dude, I had amazing case, and I know I did get lucky. I'm saying I did have caseworkers that were a little bit above bar, but, like, dude, overall, like, anybody that I've seen, if you do what they tell you to do their program. You may not like it. It may be stupid ass classes or whatever, man, but they're not telling you to do it for no reason. If they're involved, it's for a fucking reason, and a damn good reason, not nothing stupid.
yeah.
A reason. If they're involved, and not only involved, but taking your kids, like, they really don't want to just take people's kids. They really
Mm-mm.
don't. I don't care what anybody says. That was instilled in me too. Like, that they're always there out to get you, and they're the bad guys, and they just want to rip families apart. And that's not the fucking truth. They try their damnedest to keep families together, man. Like, and
That's
so,
their number one goal. Their number one goal is to keep those kids at home. You know what I mean? And that's like, and it's funny because I'm in bachelor's of social work program. It doesn't mean I have to be a social worker, but it's a broad field that I can
mm,
be in alcohol and drug counseling and
right.
all that, you know. But once I really worked and honestly, brutally, honestly worked those steps, Leanna, and, like, seen all the wrongs, and really, instead of pointing a finger, because if you point a finger, you've got three pointing back at you. It comes back to me every single time. What was my part in those situations? You know, I can't blame somebody else for my
Right.
own actions. I can if I'm
Yeah.
unwilling to take a look at myself and
Yeah,
try
but
to
where's that
correct it,
gonna get
right?
to? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Back
it
on the
was.
streets.
Yeah, yeah, it was for a fucking reason. We have another comment. They said, my past struggles with insecurities that were a huge weakness that led to alcoholism has become my greatest strength. Oh, something popped on my computer. And point of connection with those who utilize our syringe access program. So I'm pretty sure I know who that is. But yeah, the same thing. Like, our past, it was terrible and stuff. But if we can use that, for good, to help,
Hmm.
like, the
Yeah,
things that,
grow through what you go through.
oh,
Use it as a learning experience. Where did it get you last time? It's like that's revolving door. If we continue to do the same thing over and over and over and over again, we're going to get the same thing over and over and over again. And it's funny what people, what their normal becomes. I'm like, what is normal? Because what might be normal to me, somebody else might think that I'm a fucking psycho. You
Yeah,
know, they
probably
may,
do. Yeah,
like, and I'm like, I am a psycho. Like,
for
I
sure.
just
Yeah,
don't get a check for it, right? It's fine. It's fine.
because I'm an
But,
unlucky psycho.
yeah, at the same time, like I was watching these YouTube videos, Leanna, like I think it's in Philadelphia, the stuff that they're normalizing there. Like, so I'll send you a video. It's very, very gory, very triggery because there's using supplies everywhere. Like, there's people like, with deformities from these drugs that's going around. Like, and I watch it and I'm like, oh my God. Like, and the cops, you see the cops walking by, like, and they just let them be like this. And they're homeless people, they call it Kingston or something like that. But like, I'm like, oh my God, like, and they think it's crazy now. I said, wait till all this other stuff happens and all these places shut down for treatments and all of this stuff. And then what? Like they just shut the place that I used to work at, they shut it down. It's closing its doors on the 27th. Like where are people going to recover if you continue to close these doors? It's
Why?
important. It's
Why are
important.
treatments getting closed down? Is like the government pulling funding or?
Medicaid, where they're cutting the funding. So
Are you
yeah, I mean
kidding?
this place has been open for years.
So Deborah has a call with her brother. He's incarcerated, and she's going to take that call. And I guess this will be a good time. I will read some of those responses from the prompt post, like I promised earlier, while she does what she needs to do, and then she'll be back. For anybody that's just joined, Deborah was a emergency guest. She's just a friend of mine. She jumped on to help me out. My guest that I had tonight, I don't know what happened. She didn't come through. I'm sure something happened, but and again, I sincerely hope that she tells her story because it was truly incredible. But so I had some. Let's see. I once got kicked out of rehab for sneaking in a ferret. I thought it would help with my anxiety. Yeah, I guess I'm an emotional support animal. Animal. I can't even talk. I once tried to meditate, but ended up rage cleaning my whole apartment. Close enough. That's funny. I have never done any kind of meditation. Hi, Jay. I don't know. Jay joined on TikTok. I have never done any kind of meditation before until recently. I done a meeting, a recovery Dharma meeting. I have a friend of mine that I met during this podcast, and he, in exchange for him being a guest on the podcast, I attended and spoke at one of his recovery Dharma meetings that he hosts. And part of what recovery Dharma is they do meditation and stuff. It's very incorporated into their pathway or whatever. And so I figured I was during their meeting, I gave it a fair shot. And so I really did try, and I did find it very peaceful. So, I don't know about rage cleaning, but I'm in recovery, but I still flirt with chaos. I just do it in safer ways now. Like karaoke. That's not where I thought that was going at all. I thought that was going to be bad. Oh, I don't know who wrote this. I'm 42 and I've never had a birthday party. I just want someone to bake me a cake and say they're proud of me. I don't know who wrote that. I'm so sorry, but I'm proud of you. That's terrible. I listened to your podcast in my car after AA meetings. I don't know who wrote that, but I appreciate that. Thank you. That's what Deborah just said. A lot of people are listening to it later, and hey, that's fine. I'll take it however I can get it. Hey, Deborah, thank you. I told
I'm
everybody
back.
I told everyone you had to take a call, and I just was reading some of them response from the posts or whatever.
Yeah, I had to.
Someone I literally just said, I listened to your podcast in my car after AA, and I said that's what we were just talking about, is that everyone can't listen to it live, and I get that, and I appreciate it. Listen later. That's all I, listen, and hopefully you guys get something from it. And anybody, feel free to shoot ideas if there's segments that you guys want to do. I was saying this a little bit earlier, and I was kind of distracted because I was trying to get a guest. I was like looking at my phone stuff, but like everyone doesn't have to come on here, and you don't have to come on here and tell your story as a whole too. If you have or if you don't want to come on the show, if you have a little funny or inspirational or sad or whatever kind of, if you just have a little paragraph, email it to me, feralbutsober@gmail.com. You send it to me on Messenger, whatever, get it to me however, I'll read it on the show. If you have ideas for segments, by all means, let me know. I want this to be a space for people to come to share their stories and to feel accepted and to not be judged. And I want this to be something that you guys want to do. Everybody wants to do. So by all means, anybody have any ideas or, anything, reach out and just let me know. And I won't be mean. All I can do is not do it, like.
Or just ask questions, if they have
Yeah.
a question, I don't know all the answers. If I knew all the answers, I wouldn't have been in the places that I was, but I can tell you some of my life experience, you know what I mean? And that's
Right.
about it. If you take it how it is or whatever. But I was going to say, that was my brother. He called from prison, and I count my blessings every day when he calls me because, he got a 50-year sentence, 50 years because he was drinking the night before, hit a vehicle, somebody died. 50 years. How many times did I get behind that wheel under the influence of something?
Hooked up. Yeah.
And then that happens, and I'm like, I count my blessings because God was doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. Because, I remember some of the craziest times, like riding in the truck and having out of body experiences, like pulling over because I didn't know if I was driving right. I was talking about this and I was like, I could see myself from above driving. Like believe me, I was on meth. I was tweaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like to look back at that and like, how did I make it home? How did I not take somebody's life? Because I was
Hi,
only
Trevor.
one wrong move away from that, so
Yeah.
I count my blessings because we may have did and some really, really shitty stuff, but it could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah. And I know, I don't know how many times that I can say, like, I don't remember driving home, but like where I used to get my dope, it was like 45 minutes from the city to where we lived, So there's one time specifically, my friend, her dad had gotten a brand new car, a Kia, and I wasn't the one driving, but I know that, I don't know what happened, like, but I remember like the dope was really, really potent, and we all got like really high. We all did our thing and passed out in the fucking parking lot at Arby's, and then we drove home. Like we got home, but like I honestly can, like, that was one time that I can really remember saying, like, I don't know how in the hell we made it home. Like, but there was so many times, but like, that easily could have been, could have been me or anybody that I know, because because we did that run, I don't know how many times, sometimes more than one time a day for years and years. And, sometimes I drove, sometimes other people drove, sometimes we drove cars that weren't safe. Like, I don't know.
Living on a hope and a
so
prayer.
lucky. Yeah, I've been so lucky, like, that I haven't, killed somebody or killed myself or done something stupid in my addiction, because I have done some that's it. I have done some stupid shit, and I'm just so lucky that the consequences of my stupid shit have not been far worse than what they have been for me. Because people like your brother, like you said, I hate that for people when it's something that like really could have been anybody, like could have been, me and you, like anybody that lives that lifestyle, that could have been any one of us, because everybody has, drove or operated a vehicle under the influence. If, you can't say you haven't. If you have, whatever, you're better than me. But, and I hate that. I hate that for your brother. And I hate that, that somebody died, and I hate it for their family, because because it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't his fault. It could have been anybody, it could have been any one of us.
Yeah. And he, I mean, I don't know, and I'll keep it on me. His story's his story, you know what I mean? But I get to be present today. You know what I mean? I get to be present in his life when I am able to not have to avoid him when he calls me, you know what I mean? Like I'm able to be present in the lives of the family that love me and have always believed in me. And I know not everybody gets their family back. I didn't get my father back. I was in treatment. He knew that I was getting sober. He knew that I was sober and ready to come home. You know what I mean? When I lost my dad. Is that something that I regret? Yeah. I mean, I wished I could have spent the last time with him, but at the same time, had I been home, I probably wouldn't have been spending it with him anyways.
Right.
That's just how it is. Had I not been where I was at or sent there by the state of Kentucky, because I never got sober on my own, it was always them sitting me still. It's like, oh, you don't know how to stop on your own. Here you go. Here's your prison sentence, Deborah.
Yeah.
Here you go, Deborah. Sit yourself still. Fix yourself, because
And Kentucky
that's the
don't
only
fuck
that's
around. Like,
mm. No, they say you come on vacation, leave on probation. You know what I mean? Like they
yeah.
are not afraid to
Yeah.
hand out. And I know, like, and my brother, it's a small town. And his sentence probably, I can't take the guilt, but it probably has a lot to do with that same judge who always sentenced me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was the same judge, same. I am that family. They hear that name. There that one is.
Yeah. When you come from small counties and stuff like that, it's inevitable. And it is crazy that you just mentioned losing your dad, because one of the first comments that I read was while you were gone was something someone said, let me see, something about, I think it said, like, I never got to tell my mom I was clean. Yeah, I got clean. My mom died thinking I was still in active addiction. I got clean 2 weeks before she passed. I never got to tell her. That fucking sucks, and I hate that. Like,
I
my
always
dad,
say,
he died when I was in jail. You were there, and so he's never got to see me. I mean, and I know he sees me. I know he does. I don't care what anybody thinks,
yes,
what anybody believes. If you don't believe me, I don't care, or believe that, I don't care. You don't have to agree with me, but I know he sees. Just like my kids. I hate that he's never met my kids, but I know that he saw them. But I feel that. I feel that. I hate that they never got to even tell, because my dad's never got to see me clean. He didn't. I'd been in jail how many times, you know what I mean? He didn't know that I was serious, or that it was, that I was gonna be
yeah,
for real that time, just like your dad, you know what I mean? He don't know. Like, he knew that you were doing what you're supposed to be doing. You said you were gonna stay clean, but I hate that they
mm-hmm.
don't, you
I
know.
I'm a firm believer, and it's the God of my understanding, and whom he's right up there. You know what I mean? I believe that my father, my sister, my brother. I've lost 3 siblings. You know what I mean? The only person I really have left is my mama, and I'm a firm believer that they walk beside me. They're like my guardian angels. And for the whoever said that they never got to tell their mom, I'm a firm believer that people see us. They say some people have to die in order for somebody to live. Um, and that sucks. That sucks before we open our eyes when things like that happen. But at the same time, like, had I not had enough pain, because your bottom's when you stop digging, right?
Yeah.
The streets are waiting on me. They say, oh, it's waiting outside the gate. No, it ain't. It's on my shoulder, telling me every reason why I'm not worth this.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not out there waiting. It's right here with me. I pack it with me. And that's why I think it's so important. Like, when I graduated college, I had my last mugshot on top of my cap and gown, and then a recent picture on the other side, and it said, "Never judge a recovering addict, because we fight for our lives every day in ways that most would never understand." Because it's true.
It
It's
is
true.
true.
We wake up every day, and when our feet hit that floor, we make a decision. We
Yeah.
make a decision to go about our day the same way we have to stay sober, or we make that decision to pick up that phone and call the wrong person,
Yeah,
or go
because
to
it's,
their
it's a
house,
phone
or
call.
or
It's a
whatever.
phone call, or yeah, drugs are so easy to get. Like, and that's what something that I just said. One of the other comments that I read while you were gone was about somebody said they had a dream about using and they felt guilty when they woke up. And I said, I still have dreams about using, not as frequently, don't get me wrong. It's not like I have them all the time or whatever, but now I just have the tools to deal with them. But yeah, it's all the matter of waking up in a bad mood from a bad dream and making a bad phone call. Like, it's that easy. It happens to everybody. I saw something just the other day. I was just scrolling, doom scrolling, and I saw it was a podcast and it was a lady, and I give her credit. I don't know who she is, and I apologize, but she said, and I've heard this said before, but she felt it. I felt it when she said it. She said that it's not that she doesn't have another relapse in her, it's that she doesn't have another recovery in her. And I feel that because I don't have recovery is so fucking hard, dude. You have to rebuild your whole life. You have to learn who you are again. Once you get lost in addiction, everything that you know about yourself, every element of who you are goes away. And in recovery is regaining that, is rebuilding that, and then on top of that, rebuilding all the relationships that you fucked up, the ones that you can, and then accepting the ones that don't want now nothing to do with you because you fucked up, which happens. I get it, but I don't have it in me to do that again. Like, I don't have, all the people that I are in my life today. I don't want to lose. I don't know, I don't have it in me to rebuild myself again. I don't have another jail sentence. I don't have another stay away from my kids and my family. If I do, if it happens, then I know that I'll lose and that's part of what keeps me clean, is that I
Yep.
know that I don't have it in me. I was telling my husband a story the other day about, when after I left Campbell County. I don't know if I ever, I think you know this. After I left Campbell County, I went to the Salvation Army in Lexington, and
Mm-hmm.
then Braylon was at my mom's house, and they ended up, like, the social worker ended up calling me on the phone, and she was like, I am in your mom's driveway with your daughter in the backseat of my car, and your mom won't let me in the house. And I was like, fuck. I'm like, put my mom on the phone, and my mom, she's all geetered out, and she's like, no, blah, 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 I can't let me. And I end up, to make long story short, I try to get people to get Braylon. They can't get her. I'm going to tell the story in a live later, so I really don't want to tell the whole thing. But I end up getting, like, my casework, my parole officer, like, they allow me to go get her. I go get her, but my point is, the point of this is the feeling of, I end up going to get her. I was allowed to get her from CPS. But if I could get her, I could just get her. If someone else got her, they had to have, like, an inspection at their house with, like, smoke detectors and all this shit. And I don't know nobody that lives like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so I go get her. Finally, my cousin comes. They drive up in a minivan. They're in Richmond. I'm in Lexington. They drive up and get me. We drive to Claremont County, Ohio, in a fucking blizzard, dude, in a minivan with two babies. Crazy ass story. I'm really excited to tell that. I was thinking, but the point is, when I got my baby girl and sitting in the back seat holding her, I don't have that in me again, dude. That broke me. I was fucking broken. I now was sending her. She had never even met my family that I was sending her to live with. And I knew she was safe because I knew them. You know what I mean? But, like, she had never
Mm-hmm.
met them. She was little bitty too. And I'm like, and I went back because, and it was crazy too. Like, my parole officer, it was like they had never met me. It was a completely different county, and they were like, pretty much, and didn't come out and say it, but in so many words, they said, if you come back, like, when I come and meet you, like, I can let you out of the halfway house. I was just waiting on home placement to go through. Like, I wasn't sentenced to
Yeah.
there. And so I knew that if I went back, they were gonna let me right out. But it was like a week, and a week is such a short time, dude. But it was so fucking hard to go back because that's so long to my kid, like, not to
Yeah.
me. I can wait a week, but my kid, dude, like, who is just, oh God, I don't have that in me again. Like, I fucking don't got it in me. And I felt
I
that
think
when that,
I remember when that was going on with you, because we was talking back and forth. From we was calling you from the
yeah,
jail, and
chirping.
yeah, chirping like you was telling us what was going on, and man, like the state of Kentucky told me I would never have my kids back, and I represented myself, and I filed my petitions, and I got my kids back. You know what I mean? And it's like I have to just say the only thing that's stopping you from doing anything in your life, anybody that's listening, is you. Like, that's the only barriers, is ourselves, because we doubt ourselves. I don't know about anybody else, but there was a time when I didn't believe in me. You wouldn't catch me on
Right.
here trying to talk to somebody, trying to give some advice, because I'm not going to tell
No.
you to do anything. Like, I can't
Right.
care more about your recovery than you care about your recovery,
Yeah.
like
And past
I'm
me
here.
didn't care about you, at all. So,
I said it's
Anybody, you
funny
know.
how it's funny. They say, you trigger warning, like needles, like you could fit everything that you love in that one vial. You
Yes.
know, every single thing. Because for me, if I put one in me, everything that I've worked my ass off for is out the
It's
window.
gone.
Like,
Yep.
and I know that. I
Yeah.
know that without anything in me. And do I think I have arrived? No. No, I do not. I'm still under construction, like I'm still learning. I'm still learning every single day. There's things that work, there's things that don't. But I know at the end of the day, as long as I play my tape out, I'm not putting nothing in my body.
Right.
I've worked too hard to get where I'm at. And that's why I was talking at work and I was talking about people. We had this nurse and she's like, I'm only going to carry one Narcan. I said, what if it was your kid? I said, people don't go out and use and be like, oh, I'm going to die. I said,
No.
as addicts, we go out and use to get high. We go out just for that feeling and to chase it again and again and again. People don't go out to do it just to say, oh, I'm going to die. They don't think that.
No.
They don't think that at all. It
In
becomes,
fact, the opposite. Like people think it's never
yeah,
gonna happen to me. That's,
yeah.
I'm invincible. I do it so much. My tolerance is so high. Them are the things that I thought. You know what I mean? I never thought how many. I did overdose a couple times, but I never thought it was gonna ever be me. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
and those are the people that it is. And I just some people think. I've heard people recently talk about like not believing in Narcan and cutting the Narcan grants and shit like that too. And just like I would not be alive. I know that, and
Girl,
so
I got
if
17
anybody
impacts.
likes me, you know what I mean? Anybody that likes me, if you don't believe in Narcan, I wouldn't be here today. So, and yeah, that was
Yeah.
my dumbass choice. But still, look at my kids. My beautiful kids would not be here today. My youngest two, you know what I mean? So, I mean, come on, man.
I don't,
Like,
I don't care if I use everyone on me and I'm trained in CPR, you know what I mean? Like, and I'll continue to do that. If there's something going on, I'm going to be willing to help somebody because what if that was my child? What if that was somebody I cared about? What if
well,
that
it's
was somebody
somebody's
I loved?
child. You know what I mean?
It's
It's
somebody's
somebody's
everything.
care about. Yeah, it's something or somebody does care about. Yeah,
Yes.
like there's somebody, there are people. That was my thing too. Like me going on about like the platform and me wanting people to share their stories. Like, and when I'm talking about sharing their stories and not their journeys, like stories, like I want to laugh at the dumb shit that we did and talk about how far that we came. I don't ever want to say like, haha, that was funny, that was cool. Like it might have been funny because it might have been funny, it might not have been appropriate, but it might have been funny, guys. But we can still always say how far we grew from that. But oh god, I don't know where I
Leanne,
was
I
going
think
with
I
that.
think about this one story of how slick I used to think I was. I'm not going to mention the corporation that I went into, but I would go in with a $1 bill and it would be 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. See, that's tweaker hours, like who goes into the store at this time? Tweakers, right?
Yeah.
So I take this $1 bill, man, and I go to the jewelry counter and I start knocking the jewelry off like I'm invisible. And I push the bottom of the thing down, sweep it out, and I walk out the door. You know what I mean? And I'm like, how stupid was you? Like, are you kidding me? And I laugh about it because I'm like, I was complete full flight from reality,
Yeah.
like,
And it's important to remember. For me it is important for that reason, for this shit, right? This is the stuff that I'm talking. Is this is the stuff that I have to remember? Not because yeah, it's funny. You were fucking stupid, but that's not the point. The point is, but that's not the Deborah that I know. That's not who you are today. You know what I mean? And
no.
it's important, and so we can laugh at those things. And that's what I'm talking about with my platform. Like everyone doesn't have to come and share their journey. We can come and share stories or blurps of stories, and just and laugh at ourselves and own the shit that we did because we did it. We did the dumb shit
Yeah.
and
I went to a store and stole windshield wipers, stuck them down my pants. You imagine how straight legged I walked out? I'm 5'3". 5'3". Like, what? Like, ain't no way, like, but I was full flight from reality. Am I proud of that? don't know, but I can laugh about it. I
Some of
can
the
laugh
shit
about it.
that I did too, like I know that like in stores and stuff, like I know people saw like in the cashiers, like I'm pretty sure in my head I know that they just knew that I was so fucked up that it was gonna be a big scene and they just let me leave because like, like when I was stealing shit because I guarantee I know they saw me many a times. Like I'm like they just don't even want the scene that's gonna come with this because I'm so fucking I just look because especially too like when you do meth you're in the store and you can't stand still
look like
and
look like one of those things outside of a car lot. You know what I mean? Like that was us. Like we look back and today I'm like, it's so sad, but I'm thinking, my God, like I'm grateful that nobody ever videoed me, other than them stores. But at the same time, you know what I mean? Like
can I
it's
tell
complete.
you that we went and we like broke into a house or whatever and I left my hoodie there that had my last name on it from school like it was
It's not even, but you don't even
like
realize it. Did you get to go back and get it?
I did actually.
God.
I did get that hoodie back like without before like anybody knew. Like we realized right
Like,
away and went back and got it. But still, that's this dumb shit that I did. Like
yeah. But and like I said, we can laugh about it, but at the same time, like that's the disease itself, the finest of addiction. You know what I mean? Like where it takes us, because the sober me is not like that. The sober me is good hearted, is honest. I'm not going to harm nobody. But son, if I put something in my body, if and I can't allow myself to be fooled that I can sit and drink 17 beers. It's not a thing, or six, or one, because I know by the end of the week I'll have my drug of choice in me. That's the way my mind works. That's the way my addiction works. There's some people who can have a drink and they sit it down. There's
mm-hmm.
some people who can socially drink and it's not for them. But for me, my own personal self, I know that if I start, catch me when you catch me, because that's just where it takes me. It is like I'll.
It was a little wild.
Yeah, because I even told when I worked at Fazoli's in Maysville. I don't know if I've told this on here yet though, but they gave me. I become the manager there. I did all the caterings and all that stuff, and but I was the manager, so they gave me a key to the safe, a key to the store, and I looked at the guy and I was like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he said, "I'm sure." He said, "You've earned your trust," and I was like, "Listen, buddy, I'm a thief. I was
Yeah.
a I was a thief. Like I'm known for all of this. And then one day they wanted me to clean up some a mess where somebody had used in the bathroom. They got high, and I was like, no, no, no. I said, you remember that key you gave me? I said, if I put that in my system, I said, I'm gonna sell this store with you and your wife standing in it. I said, that's just where my addiction takes me, buddy. Like that's not even a thing for
Yep.
me. I'm not doing
Yep.
it.
When I came
So
down
yeah.
here, after when I first came down here, I went to work in a couple factories and stuff. But then after I had my son, I went back to work at Dollar Tree. Now, previous to my addiction and in and out of my life, I have had some pretty good jobs like management, supervisor roles in factories and warehouses and like pretty good jobs. So I have a really good resume. So when I got out of job, when I after I had my son, I want to go back to work. I didn't want to go back to factory. I became a manager at Dollar Tree where I had like the codes to the door, a key to lock the door, and I just access everything in the computer like and codes to the safe. The manager ended up giving me even her passwords to. There was one manager above me, and I had all of her passwords and codes to everything. Like I literally had access to everything, and I can remember like just thinking that thinking how many thoughts I had. Of course that stuff crossed my mind all the time, especially like we would have really good nights around the holidays and I would always have terrible, not serious thoughts, but that shit crosses my mind. It's it that's what I'm going back to. Yeah, it's there, it happens. I just know better now to say no. But yeah, like
Yeah.
I did, but I remember thinking like how far I've came because never before anybody who knew me and my addiction in my past life would ever gave me no keys to anything or no, codes and shit. Like I
Yeah.
that really did help build my security in my life today. That job really did. Like
I
Just
heard
the
this quote.
trust, like, that they had in me.
I heard this quote the other day, Leanna. Let me tell you this first. I did some CIT training, and I sit in a room in Portsmouth, Ohio, with these. It was me and two other girls, and a room full of cops.
Oh shit.
I said, I looked around. I had them cracking up because they're the ones who used to hear my truck come across the bridge, and 17 of them would pull me over and tell me to get back across the river. Like that was that. So I was like, I was sitting there and I had them laughing because I looked at them and I said, you know what? I said 10 years ago, I said you would have never told me that you would catch me in a room full of cops doing some training. And they said, why is that? I said, I was y'all's worst enemy. I said, if you all don't remember my face, I said, there's probably a reason why, because I don't look the same. I said, but you all would stop me. There was a girl that had been there for she's been there for 23 years. So she was probably one of them, but they would stop me and be like, you just need to get back across that river. And I would. I'd go down and come across another way and do what I did. But I was hell on wheels. You know what I mean? I was getting it no matter how or what I had to do to get it. And then, but this saying that I heard, it says, if you change the way you see people, the people you see change. If we stop having these biases, because when we're out there and we say I'm in recovery, we're automatically labeled. So if
Oh
you
yeah.
change the way you see people or anybody that you love and you never give up on them, those people change. They change the way that you see them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
That
easy.
that has a lot to do with it. When people start having faith, that's what Amanda said on here one time, was that it just takes one person sometimes. And for her, it was a complete stranger to just say, I believe that you can do this. Like I'm proud of your progress. Even these little things, especially like, me and growing up in the house that I grew up in, like I loved my family too. I hate when I say these things too, because I loved my dad and especially, but really, like to me, like treatment and stuff was like not a success. It was not a good thing to quit doing drugs and change your life and get a job. And that was not like the normal thing. Like it was more idolized and stuff, glorified to like, I don't know, live off of the system and,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, make side money, whatever my dad did, things like that, and do drugs and stuff all the time. So like, I'd never had, even when I did try to do good. And like, I can remember getting my first apartment. I was so excited. And then my dad was mad at me because I was moving out and like, like I had a job and I helped pay the bills and stuff. Like, and I was like, damn, are you serious? Like, I can remember that. And again, like, I love my dad and I hate when I have to tell these kind of stories, but like things like that, like, it's just, sometimes I don't know. That's all we need. We really do just need people. Like that's why the recovery community is so incredible, because they're just so, like, that's what I said earlier about my show. Like people that I don't even know have reached out and helped me out in ways like, got me guests and like went out of their way. I know that one couple, Doug and Jessica Conrad, they have got me several guests, like just for no reason. Like I mean, I'm more than grateful, but I didn't ask them to do these things. Like they've done them out of the kindness of their heart because they see what I'm trying to do here. And that's just, it's sometimes that's all we need.
It is because we can only keep what we have by giving it away. You can't continue to pour from an empty cup. So we got to give and listen and take back some stuff in. And that's why I said you don't realize how many people you help, including me. You know what I mean? Because when I get to come on here and I get to talk, or, when you have different guests and I get to listen to their story, and I'm thinking there's sometimes people's stories are really, really, really sad.
Yeah.
But that's the life they live. That's how they got where they are. They overcome that.
Yeah.
They learning from what they went through. They're being a better person. And that's why I say we can only be just a little bit better than we was yesterday. We're not going to be perfect. We're not going to be perfect. If we strive for perfection, we're going to mess up. We're going to mess up. Just a little bit better than we was yesterday. I don't want to die. I don't want to be known for being famous or whatever when I die. I want to die sober. That's it. When they say, what do you want the world to remember you by, I always say it wasn't the drugs, because I've always been known for that. I don't want to be famous. I just want people to know that I fought my demons and I won.
One, yep. I
That's
literally just wrote down, I was taking notes of things that I want to, as you're talking, I always write down little things that I want to say, because I'll forget. And I literally wrote down, and it's like, all I can focus on is not use it. Like, that's every day. Like, that's all I can't focus on. I'm really bad for, I don't plan really far ahead. And I know that isn't a great quality, but really because I fight so hard, like every day, to not every day, but that's my
but
main
you
focus
do.
every day. All I can promise is to not use, and then everything else. Some days I have good days where I can, you know, and some days I do struggle still, even yet. Like, and again, they're few and far between now. The longer I've been in recovery, but it's my life though that I lived before has made me who I am today. Has made me the person that's sitting here, the person that's wanting to help people, that's becoming a peer support specialist, like the person that's doing all these things. Everything in my life, all of the dumb shit that I've done, all of the mean things and wrong things and horrible things that I've done have made me who I am today, and it has made me the person that is hopefully going to help people in the future. So that's all that's what I focus on too. Like I just, yeah, like you said, a little bit better. Like I try to not be that person anymore. Like I'll even catch myself sometimes, like when I don't know, like someone will say something, I'm like, and I'll have to catch myself, like, that's not, don't be that person. You don't have to be cruel. You don't have to be,
Yeah.
and that's
Just
just
be
me
kind.
working on myself.
Be kind. It's free. If you see somebody struggling, ask them for help. It don't take much. I don't got to be a bitch all the time. I don't got to do that. I have bad days too,
Sometimes
Leanna.
it's hard. Sometimes it's
It
hard.
is. Sometimes I could bite my tongue off, but I'm thinking at the same time, if I bring myself outside my character, I'm harming myself. I'm harming my recovery. So I do have to bite my tongue, and I have to be like, I can't fix somebody else. The only person's actions that I am in control of is my own.
I was gonna
You
say
know,
that, and then you're gonna feel bad if you say something smart ass. You're either gonna end up hurting their feelings or potentially having to fight them or whatever, and then you're just gonna feel like shit about it later to your own self in your own mind. I don't care if you never admitted it out loud. I don't care how right you were. If they didn't put their hands on your child or something said dead ass serious, then you would hate yourself for it later, and then
yeah.
it could potentially, I'm not saying that it would, but it could potentially lead down a bad road. You know what I mean?
Well,
Because
guilt, shame, and remorse. You know what I mean? It's that guilt, shame, and remorse. It sits in. It speaks about it. If you don't read the big book, I always say if you read AA, NA, whatever you read, I read AA, I'll read NA. If I take that substance out and put
did
me
you
there,
see my episode? I don't mean to cut you off, but did you see the episode on the book last week? That it's similar to it's a compilation of like inspirational stories, and it has some scripture in there. He's an author. My episode last Saturday, it's
I,
called The Flip
I
Side, Different Sides. Did you watch that?
I did. I haven't seen. I want to get that book though. You said he sent you a copy, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, he
Yeah,
did. He it's a file. But anyways,
yeah.
he shared several passages on there, and and I've read
Mhm.
several of them. I've not got through the whole book yet, but it's amazing. Like it's and I didn't mean to cut you off from your thought there, but
Oh no,
that's anybody watching. If you don't have something that you read, I would highly recommend his book. You can buy it on Amazon. The links in the episode from last week, but and he's a really great guy. He really did chat. We kind of like at the end, I was just like kind of like, okay, I was gonna cut it short after like 45 minutes because we were done, and I don't like to, if we're done, we're done. And he's like, well, I can
yeah,
read another passage, and I mean, he was very helpful, very, he was a good guy. So, and he actually helped me out. Someone backed out on me as well, and I just put a post on Facebook and was like, hey, anybody want to? I'm saying that's why I have decided to keep going. I'm getting a migraine, but I've decided to keep going because people are continuing to do it. Like if no one was wanting to, then I would maybe not, people are continuing to keep wanting to share their story and to come on the show. So then I feel like as long as people want to do it, that's what this is about. You know what I mean? Is that people sharing their stories, and I'm going to try to get a little bit better about like making videos and sharing my story more because I mean, my story, it's very, very inspirational just to think, everything that I came from and where I am today and stuff. So I really think it could help people. Like, I really do think that my story could help people. I just have to be better about sharing it. And
Yeah,
and that's
I,
something that I'm working on.
I think it's easy sometimes for people to not feel like that what they have to say is valid, but I don't. For me, it didn't matter. Like, or who it comes from. You know, some people get stuck on who it comes from. Like, it doesn't matter who it comes from. If you listen to the story, you're going to find something. You know, it's not always about the messenger, it's about the message that's in it. So to sit and listen to somebody's story, sometimes you're going to be like, damn, like, and I thought my life was bad. But some people really, really, really go through some stuff to get them where they're at, you know? I don't know, man. I think don't ever quit on you, because don't ever, ever quit on you, Leanna, because you help people. We help people. Anybody that comments on these posts, I'll even read the comments, because my life shows that my life is happening. Like, I have 5 college classes. I have a full-time job. They done had me over in the nasty natty doing some peer support classes. Like, I did not love that. But, you know, I do what I got to do to help the next person. You know, anything, just like when you call me, or I'm pulling in, but I'm going to call you right back. Yeah, send it to me, because I don't care. Because if we show up and show out for each other, that's what we do.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
and I that's what I was saying too. Like, I think right when you were coming on the very first, like, I have received so much support, like, in doing this, like, and that's an incredible feeling all on its own, like, aside from my recovery in itself, but just to feel that, because I'm not very active in the recovery community prior to this show, just because. I don't know. I got out and I lived my life and I just, but I did, that is kind of why I was getting depressed and I was kind of starting to mentally spiral. And that's why I started the show, because we need that support in that community. And I had forgotten, I had gotten away. And it just, it just really is amazing how much just a little few kind words, how far that can really go for somebody. Like,
Yeah, and that's for anybody that comes on here and shares or comments or whatever. Just those few encouraging, positive words can change somebody's day. You don't never know what somebody's about to do when you run into them. So just be nice. That's all we got to do. We just got to be a
or what
good human.
somebody's going through too, because I know some people don't. I don't care if you work beside somebody every single day, you might not know what they're going through, man, because I don't share like that with everybody. My coworkers and things like that, especially like the job I work now, like, you're not very close with my coworkers, like, we don't work in close proximity, so we don't really, like, they don't know about my life. So, like, don't just, it would be wrong just to say something not kind, because you don't know what they're going through at home, or what just happened or whatever. Like, you just don't know. And I've been that person before. I've had my fair share of bad days, and then you have to suck it up and you have to go to work anyways. And then, and then some idiot smarts off, and then, that's
And then
never
it
good.
just spirals
That's
back,
never good. Yeah.
you know, and that's why I said we're great mask wearers. You know what I mean? We could be dying on the inside, but we put that smile on, right? We know how
Yeah.
to put that on. We know how to put that fake facade, because we don't want the world to judge us by what's going on with us.
Right,
And
because somehow it'll get blamed on my past. That's how I always feel. I don't like to share my struggles with, like, people, because anybody who knows my past, I always feel like somehow they seek, even if they don't, and this is just my irrational thoughts, but, like, I feel like they somehow judge me. And some people do, though, like, and judge me, and somehow it's because that I was an addict, or I'm probably back on drugs, or some stupid shit. And I feel that way a lot. Like, if I struggle to pay bills and things like that, like, I always feel like people think that I'm on drugs or stuff. Like, I don't, and nobody even knows, like, like, that I didn't pay my light bill this month, or I skipped a month, or whatever, only paid half of it. Like, nobody knows, and I still feel that way. Like, I'm like, I know for sure that everyone around me somehow knows, and is judging me for it.
it comes from the trauma that we live. Like, trauma is really, really, very, very, very bad for our addictive thinking. You know what I mean? Like, and even with stuff like that, like, who wants to ask for help? My
Right.
husband asked whenever I relapsed, "Do you need help? Do you need help?" it wasn't them, my
No,
current husband. It was the guy that I was seeing, and I'm like, no, why would I say that I need help? I'm already ashamed of myself, you know. So, and that's the thing now is even in places like we are, like helping people. Like I always say, be careful who you throw a life raft because who's going to throw you one. Um, I'm going to help whoever's willing to help yourself, you know, and I'm going to be able to speak or hear from anybody. But at the same time, make sure that you've got people in your corner that's willing when you're drowning to
yeah.
be like, hey, man, I got you. Right.
Yeah. I will be that person to like, I know I'm not certified yet, but I am becoming, whether I go on and go to college or like, or whatever, not anybody on here. Like I will, I'm telling you guys, like I will be that person. If you reach out for me and you need help, I will do everything in my power to get it to, to put you in the right place or whatever. Like I will show up for you. Like I don't, just put myself out there for everybody, but for people, if you genuinely come to me and say, I genuinely need help, I will do everything I possibly can to help that person. Like I want everybody to succeed and live the life that I live now today because it's a whole different, like I was going through questions and stuff to send the girl that was going to be on this show tonight. And one of the questions was like, how does your life now compare to the chaos of active addiction? And I remember like as I was writing that question down, I was like, that is such a crazy question. Like it doesn't even fucking compare, like I don't know, like
Mm-hmm. It's different. I mean, because we look back and like I said, we can laugh at it, but the chaos that we lived, you know, like the things that we went through, Leanna. I can walk into my office where I work now and I'm like, oh my God. It's like somebody beside me, if something's messed up, I'm like, it's complete chaos because I said walking into a room where everything's dysfunctional or whatever, I'm like, I feel like I'm back in the madness. Like it messes with me a little bit, you know, and I'm like, I have to pull myself back in, reel myself back in, and like, you got this, you know,
yeah,
like
that's
oh
like just one of the effects. It's like gonna affect everybody in different ways for our life. Like it was something traumatic. And especially like I know I keep going on about like our experiences and being valid and stuff, but like I struggle with like a sense of identity from my past because addiction for me was not a 1 or 2 or 5 year, thing. Like I grew up in a household with addiction and then I got on drugs very young. My whole life was addicted. So like all of my experiences, like, you know, I don't like every experience I had involved drugs in some form from the time that I was very, very young. So like, I struggle if I can't um like talk about those experiences and own that shit, like how then who am I? If they weren't valid or if that wasn't good or right, then what's that lead for me? And that's something that I'm struggling with, or and that's how the show came about. But because it's so important to just to own that, that what the things that we did were valid. I don't care if I was getting high while I did it, it's still what I did. It was still, the first time I did this or my first day. Like I'm talking like school dances, shit, everything, anything that I did in my life, like I was during, I was using it, that was still my experience. That was still, when I learned how to drive a standard shift or like whatever it might have been in my life, like just because I might have been high or going to get drugs or whatever might have been, it doesn't make it any less valid or any less important or any less,
yeah,
should
it
be,
doesn't.
doesn't mean that it shouldn't be
That's
talked about either. Like I think that's what I struggle with the most, is not that it's not important, but that I feel like I shouldn't talk about it, or like it makes some people uncomfortable, and I'm learning to just say fuck them because it's my life. I'm sorry if it makes you uncomfortable, but that's what I live. That's how it happened.
and I always say, Leanna, like, I can't help. I can only please one person a day, and it's that person looking in the mirror. You know what I mean? I have to be okay with me. I have to make sure that I'm good when I lay my head down every night, that I've not harmed or hurt anybody, and I've did the best that I could. Not being perfect, but that I could, you know. And it's easy. It's easy to get caught up. Our life that people. But if we lived our life to please other people, for me, I would have been right back to them streets because people didn't believe in me. I didn't believe in myself. I always say that for me, if I live my life to please other people, I probably wouldn't be here.
Right, for sure. I can't even please myself. I don't care, but I definitely never did in my addiction, and I can't now. Like, and I think that's just a quality of my personality. That's nothing to do with my addiction. But I think that we always hear in recovery that in treatment, that in recovery we have to be very selfish, and that's so true. Like, I had a
It,
guest not too long ago, and they talked about how they went to treatment, and for the first year, they say no relationships, and for her that also included her daughter, who she was had burnt bridges with and wanted desperately to repair a relationship with. Been her counselor and them, and they advised her against it, and it ended up working out, and now they are reunited, and it ended up having a beautiful ending. But at the end of the day, she expressed, some guilty feelings and stuff of not, as soon as we get clean, we want everybody to forgive us and everything to get all better. And
mm-hmm.
but we have to continue to be selfish, because if we worry too much about other people and people pleasing, and that's when we start slacking on the things that we do to maintain our sobriety, whatever it may be, whether it be traditional treatment or your own routine or whatever, like it, it's just
Because if we continue to people please, then eventually, if it's something that we don't want to do, we grow those resentments toward people because we're abandoning ourselves. If we're always doing what somebody else wants to do, you eventually you'll be like, my God, can it ever just be me for one time?
right.
So it's important to have those strong boundaries to know that, you have to be selfish. I have to be selfish in my sobriety because I know I work myself too hard to get where I'm at, to allow any outside force outside of myself to take it away. And I don't care if somebody doesn't like me. I don't care.
No.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinions. You know what I mean? So, like, if they don't like me, they probably don't even know me. They probably know what
Right.
they've heard about me, but they
Right.
don't know who I am.
Because I
They don't know.
genuinely try to be a decent person nowadays. Yeah, so like if you don't like me, it's because of something, that you're going off of something that you've heard, or, a wrong impression or something, because I try not to go out of my way and just be shitty to people anymore. So there's no reason for people, I don't know, like, but you're always going to have haters, and you're always going to have people that and they're going to be jealous too. And that's like people talking about like addicts being weak people. And I think that's so crazy, because anyone who knows anything about addiction, even like the science behind it, like addicts are some of the strongest people. I mean, like, we fight every day. It doesn't go away. Like, it never goes away. The feeling of wanting to use it is, and especially like for me, I don't really have a lot of physical triggers. I have more like emotional, mental triggers. Like when things get tough, when I get upset, like, if I get sad or what hurt or something like that, that's when I'm like, well, let's just go get high. Like, fuck this. This sucks. I hurt, or, this made me sad or whatever. And let's just not feel this. Let's just not,
Yeah,
And
because it's easy when somebody gives up on us. We're like, well, fuck it. They don't care about us anyway. We might as well go fuck our own
nice.
lives up.
This is what they wanted, so I'm gonna give it to them. But
They said I was already doing it, so let me go. Guess who loses in that matter?
right.
Not them.
Instead,
Us.
now I thrive on like showing them up. Like, you thought I was gonna use like haha, the jokes on you. But
When they say it, I'm like, well, watch me. My cat's ready to play.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know we've been on here for an hour. I really appreciate you jumping on and helping me out.
You're fine.
In the show. Thank you again, everybody. Debra joined at the last minute, so we really don't have a more topic today. We just kind of talked.
It's fine.
But
What is it about?
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Leanna. You keep doing what you're doing, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night.
You too.
I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my pen ready. Used to hold myself back, my self-esteem damn bad. Gotta keep on chugging, ran through everything in front of me. Might smoke bed in heaven, got a whole agenda. Can't aspire to